Well, Leo, I got to tell you, man, I got into jiu-jitsu a couple years ago, and your name was one of the first ones that came up as a guy who's just kind of like a legend in the sport and has done so much. And I just wanted to kind of talk today about, yes, you've competed. And I think that's something I want to talk about in the mindset there. But I also want to talk about just jiu-jitsu in general and your lineage and where you came from and your background. So
Mhm.
you've won multiple titles, right, in jiu-jitsu.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell us a little bit about, your titles in jiu-jitsu, and then also you have checkmat schools, hundreds of them all over the world, right?
Yeah, I was blessed to start in the sport that was be successful in the future. I was 10 years old, as a kid, just wants to, like every Brazilian kids, you would just want to be in the outside playing soccer. It's pretty common. So cheap, easy, just a ball, bunch of kids playing.
Yeah.
Actually, I was pretty good in the football and soccer.
Yeah.
And then, but I was lucky to start in the sports that later on became one of the most popular sport in Brazil. And then when this happened, I was purple belt, young purple belt. I was the first kid generation of my sport. So
It's,
everybody else was already like when the jiu-jitsu started in Brazil, and everybody was like adults. So
yeah.
my generation was the first kids. So I was the first one from my school that was yellow belt, was kid, like get all the belts until a black belt.
Uh,
So then like competition started super early for
you
me,
started competing when you were 10
10 years old.
in
You know.
jiu-jitsu in Brazil.
Yeah.
And so you were saying your dad was a doorman at like an apartment complex?
Yes, yes.
And so how did you get introduced to jiu-jitsu?
Because the place I grew up, everybody's too friendly and close. So my father used to work for so many people, like, and he knows everybody in the building.
Right.
So my professor Romero Cavalcante, he's the guy who was asking sometimes my father to make some work for him. It's like fixing car, fixing something, or drive, may buy some stuffs, and he was walking to the academy. He always saw a bunch of kids running around, and I was one of these kids. So he asked my father, okay, so why didn't you take your son to train jiu-jitsu?
Right.
And was a really expensive sport. My father said, look, I don't know if I can afford it, but it's okay, just take. I open a kids school, jiu-jitsu school. My father, they have no idea. He thought it was a karate or kung fu,
Yeah.
and we was love with kung fu as a kid. So I jumped this school to see and training. I thought punching and kick. I went over there was just grappling.
Right.
I didn't like it,
Right.
but I have a really good timing, smashing all the other kids. But one girl, she totally controlled. She was smashing me on the mat.
And this is when you were 10. So
Yes,
you thought you were going in there to do some stand-up fighting. And then
yes,
as we know, jiu-jitsu is mainly, for the most
yes,
part, groundwork.
yeah.
And some girl just kind of took it to you?
Yes, yes. I come back so disappointed myself. My father asked, "Oh, how was it?" He didn't went there. He said, how was the karate?" I said, "That it's not karate," and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? I said, "No, I'm gonna come back." I said, "But you don't like it." Yeah, but I don't want to say that I get a smash for a go.
Yeah.
I was so proud. 10
Was
years
she
old
smaller
kid.
than you too?
Yes. So I was
Okay,
I
right.
know at 10
Yeah.
years old, so you don't want to get beat up for a girl. So I want to come back. I was so proud as a young kid.
Yeah.
So I came back.
And now you've seen probably, just to caveat, you've seen women, dominate the sport of jiu-jitsu.
But before you understand
right.
the sport,
Yeah, when you were 10, you
when-
didn't realize that.
we don't understand the sport.
Right.
You don't care. It's special
Right.
kids. So it's so proud. Like,
Yes.
and I was like a kid that in this, if you understand in my situation, I was a poor kid inside that I grow up with like a lot of rich kids. So I kind of like I get a sometimes a bully from those guys. And I was going to public school in Brazil. It's nobody goes to the public school unless if you really have no money, no opportunities. In the public school, I was the only one not living the ghetto, not living the community.
Uh,
So they was like, "Oh, you're the rich kid who live in the
oh,
apartments."
because, so just to back up for a second, the reason why you were surrounded by, quote, rich kids in the apartment was because your dad was the doorman,
Yes.
but you technically were kind of,
Yes. So when kids
okay.
play, they was always say, "Oh, your father worked for my father."
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
It's kind of like those kind of kids,
right.
So I was not fitting this in their friends so much. So I get a struggle over there. So my school, I was not fitting because everybody live in the favela, in the community,
Right.
where the school belongs to.
Yes.
And then I was the kid who lived in the apartments.
Ah.
So, but the reason I'm in the school because I have no money. I have to go to the public school. So I was not fitting over there because I don't belong to their community. So I was kind of like struggling to find myself. But through jiu-jitsu, and everybody see how confident I was as a kid. And then, and kids in Brazil, kids fight. Kids had to stand up for themselves. So sometimes I had to stand up for myself, not to really fight, but most of the time to just I'm confident enough to be my own. And then this confidence through jiu-jitsu make me fit in both. People wants to be my friend. They saw the medals. They saw I competing. They saw, the way I was in the sport. They saw, oh, I want to hang out. I started became popular through those communities to my friends.
And because you got in so early, as jiu-jitsu grew in Brazil,
Yes.
you became one of the kind of known guys out there. Is that what happened?
Yeah. And then as a kid, back into the 10 years old, so I didn't like the sport, right? But at the same time, I was a smart kid. I would look to this and say, look, after 3 weeks, I can control that girl. She will smash me every day. But if work to she control me, it's gonna work for me against somebody else.
Right.
Because I was always the smallest for my group of friends. So if it works for her, it's gonna work for me. So then I start. That when I click, then I start in love with jiu-jitsu, and then I never stop anymore.
So
and then
when
my brothers enjoy it too.
Yeah, and so you and your brother started rolling jiu-jitsu, and I mean, how many hours? I mean, basically, if you weren't in school, were you rolling jiu-jitsu?
That time, like kids, 3 times a week. Today, kids is like professional. They're training every day, specific training drills. Like back in my time, no. Like you just go 3 times a week. Pretty mellow, and you want to be in love with the sport. The sport became too professional as a young kid. You can have I see 2 things that happens. I used to work with kids so many times. So if you go too professional, it's too young, too early, or you can get injury because the way you're training your body to so specific as a kid,
Right.
you can develop injury, or you get burn out.
Yeah.
Too much stress,
too soon.
Too much too soon. When in the end of the day, as a kid, you just want to make your parents proud to you do something.
So you're in Brazil. You're obviously you weren't rich there, and you started competing in jiu-jitsu. Then when did you start really seeing your success in jiu-jitsu? At what age?
I think it was a blue belt, 16 years old, because until there's a color belt, yellow, not so many tournaments. But blue belt, it's a step that take you from kids tournament to adults tournament.
Right.
Then you see yourself as, okay, so now it's the sports, a lot of competition, traveling to compete. This give you, for you, like, okay. But in the purple belt, I was playing jiu-jitsu, and I was playing soccer and training jiu-jitsu. But then once I get invited to my professor, Romero, to help in the class, that was the first time that I say, okay, so there's a lifestyle that I can do it. Because until now, until my purple belt, 17 years old, in my mind, okay, so I'm going to finish high school, I'm going to find a building to work like my father works, and they're going to make my life. That was my perspective of life, My parents didn't have education, so it was pretty clear the way they tell me, say, okay, look, after high school, you're gonna work in the building. That was
the path.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the purple belt, when I get invited to my coach, I said, look, my coach, he ride a bike in the morning, 1 class, he go to the beach, he come back in the night, he trains again. So when he invited me, click me and say, okay, I can have this lifestyle, live in the neighborhood that I want, and have his lifestyle. So that's when I say, I wanted this for me.
So you want to become an instructor.
Exactly.
And just for anybody who's listening who's not as familiar with jiu-jitsu, in the adult belts, it goes white, blue, purple, brown, and then black. And there is some stripes along the way at some schools. Just to clarify. So now you're purple belt, and you start teaching at the school as well.
Yes.
And then, so what was it like as a kid? I mean, you're younger, 16, 17, 18, competing against adults, right? I mean, were you competing in just open bracket divisions?
Oh, yeah. They didn't have so many. The sport was not the way it is today. So a lot of super fights, a lot of challenge between schools. A lot of there are a couple tournaments during the year, and not so many kids that match to your size. So then they was just like getting to the tournament, find somebody who's look like, or
Yeah.
it was a sport that built as a pride. So it wants to, okay, I have a really good kid. They don't care about belts or weight. You just like you just want to put it to challenge themselves and
To challenge each other. And so,
fight. Yeah.
so at a young age, what type of stuff did that do for you mentally, right? I mean, you're coming out of the, it's kind of like the, you're in some form of poverty in Brazil,
Uh-huh.
right? And you're using jiu-jitsu in it. What does the mat and competing against other kids, and whether it's girls, boys, whatever, what kind of mindset did you learn through jiu-jitsu at an early age? What are some like things that you picked up on? Like when you got on the mat, what were you thinking?
Yeah, like my professor was really like really good with strict conditioning. He was like a triathlon. He used to do the triathlon.
Oh, triathlon, yeah.
Yeah, and he's was competing. He's in Ironman.
Yeah.
So every day he was biking, running, swimming. As close to him, he was telling me to do exactly the same thing with him. I was not competing, but almost every day I was biking, running, and swimming. So, but my bike was not the same as his
His
bike.
bike,
So
yeah.
I have to bike like 2 times, to get the same speed as him.
Yeah.
So swimming, so I don't have goggles and was swimming by the beach. So my eyes was burning. So I have to,
Were you not able to afford goggles?
No, it was not this because when you get used to you like especially the sea, like I don't know, I don't I use he
Oh.
give me one, but I just get on use.
Yeah. Okay.
Running was running by the beach, so this start early for me. I never like really work out, as a young, but I doing a lot of
Yeah. Condition. It
conditioning
sounds like
training.
you've had some mentors along the way that have kind of pushed you
Yes,
and taught you.
yes.
You didn't even have to be taught anything. They were just showing you what hard work was, right? These guys were getting after
Yeah,
it.
was a lot of like you have to do this, but in the meantime, I knew it that as a sport that I have to be good at this regarding to be somebody in this sport. I have no other option. So schools, opportunities for me. The only opportunity where I have was through the sport, was just jiu-jitsu. So I was pretty nervous. I was crying before tournaments. I was nervous so much, and
When you were
I
16, 17, 18,
yes,
because
they're all
everything was
kids.
riding on these. Is that what that is?
Yeah, so I think like as a kid, like I was saying this, the only opportunity that I have to provide for myself is to change our lifestyle. So and I was the old brother from three, so my parents was pushing me the education me so much because my brother was copying me, so it was really strict educations to me about going out, hang out, friends, where you go, what time you come back. So jiu-jitsu was part of the discipline. Go in the academy in the morning, go in the academy before the school, go in the academy after the school. Because they knew that if you keep me in the academy, like they don't know what's gonna happen in the academy, but I knew it was better than be in the street. 'Cause my
Right.
father was working the streets, he know how what happened with the kids who grow up in the street. So be in the academy, so it would be a better environment. And it works because take me away from parties, drugs, lifestyle,
Right.
like a different lifestyle, and push me to a environment that you have to discipline yourself and training. So and it works. And in the end of the day, I was enjoying to make this to training. So
Right.
in the tournaments mindset, so I knew that I can't fail. I don't want to fail because was a lot of timing to. I was not paying in the academy. I was not. I was spoiled kids in the academy to have a lot of opportunity. I don't want to disappoint nobody. I don't want to disappoint myself. I don't want to disappoint my coach. I don't want to disappoint my parents. So when I stepped on that mat was my life. That's why I was crying because it was a lot of pressure. But after years, I was thinking, oh man, I have to change this because I'm not gonna do anything else. So I have to change the way I think it because I'm gonna be nervous for
Right.
so much.
Yeah. How is that sustainable before
Yeah,
every
then I start
match?
fighting myself against like, okay, so why I'm crying? Why I'm nervous? Because even my coach one day said like, no, I don't think you don't need to fight if you don't want. I said, no, I want to fight, but I don't know. That's my like the way I react. I'm crying. Like I want to fight. There's nothing else that I want to do. I want to fight. When I step on the mat, no crying anymore. That's what I want to do. But before, I was so super nervous.
So how'd you overcome that? How'd you learn how to get
I don't
through
know
that?
when, but I think right now realize that I start thinking the different ways. I start like many competitions. I start to see, okay, is nothing changed between one competition to the other one. So I start making the questions to the right questions. So when you make a question that you can't answer, so this give you
Anxiety.
anxieties, and
Yeah.
then you don't know. Like, and I try to make a questions to make me confident, but it was the wrong questions. When I decide to make it questions that instead that I ask you how I gonna win the fight, but I want to ask you, okay, how this guy is gonna win me. So I'm the one who trained with those guys.
Because you're in
I'm the
control
one
of
that
it.
was young. Okay, how he's gonna take me down? No, no. So then I was having answer for every question that I was doing too. When I reverse the questions, so I have the answers, and this was calming down. And then I was enjoy to compete. I knew it that all my sacrifice to be on the mat, to discipline, not going out, not like I saw the results, and then I knew it that it would be
So you
good.
flipped the script and, almost like you started asking yourselves questions that you were in control of. So instead of
Yeah,
saying, how's this guy going to, what you're saying, hey,
yeah,
how is he going to try and take me down?
yes,
And then now that you say, okay,
yes,
I think he's going to do a
yes.
single leg, whatever.
And it was the same mentality as I take as a older. So even my last fight competition was couple years ago. So I was old to compete against such a young kids,
Right.
20 years old. So I'm 43. So uh, so I step in the mat, and one of the last tournaments I took second place, won a big tournament, and when my name was in the bracket, people say, "Oh, Leo, he's the in Brazil called zebra, but here you guys call underdog. So he's underdog, but
In Brazil, it's called a zebra?
zebra, yeah. When something like, oh, the surprise is
Okay.
zebra, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
So I was the underdog because a lot of big names. I won couple times this fight, but I was old
Younger.
for for this. So and then I took second place, and then I beat some guys that was really big in the sports, and then and then and then and then what make me fight was exactly the same mentality as a kid. It was if in the beginning I was making different questions, and then I was getting nervous, and then I switch again and say, okay, so what those young guys gonna do? They fast. I know they're faster than me, they're stronger than me, but I have a lot of experience. Step on the mat against somebody that have been competing so much, they're gonna be nervous too. So what he's gonna try to do? He's gonna try to take me down. I'm gonna stand up. He's not gonna take me down because I know I have a skills. I know I may be able to scramble and stand up. I'm conditioned. I know I can do this. He gonna make this? No, I can do this. He gonna make this? No, no way. I gonna do this.
Huh.
So then I see, oh, he doesn't have a game to beat me. Okay, so in the end, the fight will be so long, and he gonna make a mistake because I know the rules. I know he not confidence with the rules,
Huh.
and that was happen during the whole
And
fight.
that was when you competed a couple of years ago. And so you're in Brazil and you're competing. Now you won some major tournaments, right?
Yeah,
You won like the world championships basically
yeah,
of jiu-jitsu in Brazil, which is like a big deal,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so then you continue to compete, and then in jiu-jitsu there's different schools, right? That
yes,
kind of came up from different lineage. And
yes.
so it all started, can you kind of briefly just in a very short synopsis summarize like how did jiu-jitsu get started? Who started it? And then how did the lineage start to break out?
Yeah. Everything starts with the family Gracie. Uh, it's we're gonna have a documentary because of the way it started. It's really like a scramble. People doesn't know exactly how it was, but it started with the Grace family. Coach Koma was a Japanese who came from Japan. He started teaching in North Brazil jiu-jitsu to a group of friends. One of these guy was the family Gracie, Carlos Gracie, who
Yes.
was teaching for his family, and then his family in the end started say, okay, let's start teaching jiu-jitsu regarding to afford and making money.
Uh,
So my professor was on the first ones to learn from those guys. So I remember back at the time only have like usually have like not so many teams. So it's all the schools end up with Gracie. So mine was the only one of the only one that the team that doesn't have like a Gracie
In your lineage.
in my
And then
lineage.
the way it works is then your professor gives you a black belt.
Yeah,
Then you could go ahead and give black belts to other people eventually, right?
yeah,
And now you could also get stripes. So once you reach your black belt,
yeah.
then for every 5 years you have a
Every
black belt?
the
Every
first 3 stripes every 3 years. The next 5 years you get the other stripes. And but you need 6 to 9 years for you be a black belt who can give a black belt.
Ah.
Yeah.
And so now you have a 5-strip black belt.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for a little while, huh?
Oh yeah, I got my black belt. I got my black belt in 1996.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you're competing, and then you decided to open up a school. So what was that transition like, going from being an athlete and then also you're coaching classes to then how did that process look like? How were you able to start a school? I mean, how do you go from a kid who is, poor to starting your own jiu-jitsu school?
Yeah, like I was in Brazil. I was in Rio teaching the schools. My professor, Romero Cavalcante, he went to United States when it was the boom jiu-jitsu with UFC.
Yep.
So UFC opened so much opportunities because Royce Gracie was fighting UFC and represented jiu-jitsu. It
Right.
was the boom United States. So my professor went to Atlanta, and I was helping to running, keeping his school busy in Rio de Janeiro. So, but also if Fábio Gorgel, it's in São Paulo. He has a pretty successful school in São Paulo. He invited me to teach over there, and then was a good offer. So I moved to São Paulo to work with Fábio in his school. So after 3 years, so the way that we organized São Paulo, São Paulo was too busy, too big city to have only one school. We opened the other school, but that school was my school. So we have that was the team starting like spreading out.
Okay.
Before the team doesn't have the visions to spread out. Everybody wants to be only one
Right.
place.
But at that point, jiu-jitsu was getting.
Yes.
Now you started a school. It was called Checkmat at the time.
No, the time was like just my school.
Yeah.
I was under Alliance.
Alliance. And then when
Yes.
did you? Why the name Checkmat? Because that's what your schools are now.
Yeah, because everything was under one team, and then was a situation with new federations, new opportunities, and the sport was not so much money involved, but the people in the sport wants to make money, so they want to take all the opportunity that happens. So political wise, like I was just young, I just want to compete. I don't care. I don't want to teach. I want to compete. But my coach, my professor, the team was leading the team. They was deciding to make some visions to run the school and the team for one direction. And I was the athlete who wants to go to the athlete's direction, and they will have a big meeting, and then after this meeting, so everything was good. But then in the end, later, a couple weeks later, they just decided to break the team, and then I opened another team. That's like they will say, okay, so we're gonna be alliance. You guys are thinking too different. You guys gonna open your own team.
Right.
And then my professor came to me and said, Leo, you do this, so I will support you, I will help you. And then I opened the other team. We opened with a different name, Brasa. But Brasa was a lot of friends, 24 years old. I was, but with no knowledge, no experience to make the team.
Yeah.
And then we start having problems. And then I say, guys, I don't wanna be between two groups. I'm gonna open my team, which was Checkmat. I'll say, and then I'm gonna make the rules so everybody welcome. So and then I want to make a team that was friendly, like a family value to run the team. So understand the vision, the perspective of the competitor. Also give the freedom to the professors, authority to the professor, be professor, to opportunities to the competitors, be a competitors, and became professor later with a perspective of life and grow up inside the team.
Right. And so why the name Checkmat?
because we need a name, we didn't know what name, and we were searching the name, and my wife said, "Why you guys don't put Checkmate? Everybody talk about jiu-jitsu, it's chess, blah blah blah," and then no, Checkmate, it's a funny name. No, like I don't think it would be nice.
Yeah.
But in the end of this meeting, we say, any name you choose will be funny. Like just take Checkmate. We need to give a name, and then I say, okay, well, let's take Checkmate. We take it out the E to use mat as a mat, and let's use this name. Then it became the logo, and then was so popular. People like so much.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
then,
mean, I think
yeah,
jiu-jitsu is so similar to
yes,
chess, right? It's
yeah,
you're moving, I'm moving, and we're kind of going off each other.
yeah.
And so as you're growing up, I mean, then you start Checkmate at the time. Obviously, you're married, and how are you? You have some? Do you have kids when you're in Brazil?
Yes, but when I started, I was 24 years old. I was dating. I was going to college. It was a part. My life was I was running school. I was running the team, and also going to the college. It was a physical therapy college in the college. So it was and competing. I was tough. I was waking up at 5 a.m. I was going to sleep like 1, 2 a.m. It was pretty tough time at that time.
And how long did you do that for?
I was doing this for until I finished the college.
So
And then
you ended
work-
up getting a
work-
degree in physical therapy?
Yeah, and
Oh.
work 1 year, and then decide, no, I like physical therapy, but no, jiu-jitsu is my passion. I think I just did it. I just did the physical therapy just to prove to my parents, okay, look, you have a son that has something. So it was always the dreaming for my parents. In Brazil, everybody, it's the dreaming you have a
Yeah, that you finished college.
graded. Yeah.
So now how do your parents feel that you've now opened up? Now you have, a couple hundred
Oh, yeah,
Checkmate facilities, and you own, 3 here, and
Yeah.
and I mean, they must be like,
Yeah, no, they super proud. So they live here in California with me. So they are like they didn't have education so much. So my mom, I helped her to get her degree to fourth grade. So my father, he didn't went to school. He learned how to reading the Bible. We are really Christian, and
wait, so they didn't go to school at all?
no, and so my mom, she's she's hungry to learn. So when I moved from my home, when became the internet, all these connected, so she learned how to use Facebook just to find out where we are, because we was traveling so much, she didn't know about us, and when we never call, we never like
Yeah.
like boys traveling, so they don't call parents. So she stepped in the computer, she learned how to use the computer to use Facebook. So she used Facebook, and she find out, that's when she realized and found out how busy we was and how people love us. So she was, oh, Leo, I didn't know you travel all to those places.
Yeah.
I didn't know people like you so much. I didn't know like what you and your brothers doing. It's so nice. I say,
Because
yeah.
you're teaching seminars, and so fast forwarding, you pull your family to the United States.
Yeah.
How many years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah, they just came right now, but I came 5 years ago, me and my wife and my kids. Yes.
So how was that transition going from Brazil to the United States?
Yeah, like it was like tough decision because it's a hometown. He wants to stay home, but the opportunity as a sport was, I have to come here because all world tournament, big tournaments was here in California, so we need something organized. The way the team grow up, so we need somebody like strong hands at the team to control. So, and also as an opportunity with the kids. Over there, I was working so much, I didn't have time for my kids. And now was the way I grew up. So it's not what I want to my kids. So I decided to move, and there are story that 5 years before this, I was deported from the United States without making anything bad. I was just traveling. I have a visa, and I came to the United States. They locked my visa. They see that I was popular in the sport, and they send me back. They cancel my visa. They say, look, you don't need nothing wrong. At the end of the day, they say, I'll make the interviews. You didn't make anything wrong, but you are to qualify for this visa. So, you cannot, you have to come back and change your visa. So for 3 years, I was training my athletes, and I watching tournaments through the TV because I was not able to travel to the United States. 3 years later, so I got a visa. I came here, and then was totally different world. So the jiu-jitsu community here, it's big. And then I knew that I have to move. And then I came, I find a lawyer, and then I applied for the visa to
Right.
work, to open the school. And then that's when my first year was in San Jose. And then my second year until now was here in California.
Wow. Very good.
And the family was just, okay, let's go. My wife, she was
ready to move.
Support. Yeah, so I couldn't do anything. When we met, I was like really broke. Like she was the one that organized my life and they organized myself to be who I am today. Yeah.
Your wife.
Because I was a really potential jiu-jitsu, but not organized. I was like, like just like potential things,
Yeah.
but not. So like a, a diamond that need to be
Yeah, you
polished.
needed to be polished up. And your
So
wife
she was
came
the one
in.
that said, okay, so doing this, and it was just day, I met her in my college in the physical therapy. So she was my friend before being my wife.
Ah.
So we was working together like same class for years.
And so, if you're someone new in jiu-jitsu who, if someone's interested in trying jiu-jitsu obviously changed your life, right?
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It got you out of Brazil and it's provided so much opportunity. What would you recommend to someone who wants to maybe get into jiu-jitsu?
I think usually people think jiu-jitsu it's any jiu-jitsu, so they just jump in the place. So I recommend to see the history, background and history, jiu-jitsu history about the instructor, the coach, because it's everybody selling jiu-jitsu, but it's the community is so close. Like it's a lot of loyalty to the team. So sometimes people use those loyalty, these values to change. So if you start jiu-jitsu in the wrong place, so if you have your loyalty to the wrong reason, so you're gonna waste your loyalty. So because it's you sometimes you push people take advantage and make you push to the wrong direction.
And so what could someone be looking for if they're looking for a school? What type of things should they be looking for out of the professor?
Yeah, it's not like how the competitor the professor was, but
Right.
how his personality, and you because people sometimes they start the training, and I get so many people here. They start training just to no, I just want to roll, or I just want. People start jiu-jitsu for different reasons. Maybe self-defense, maybe just confidence, maybe to be a sport, maybe to be a world champion, maybe just to MMA. So you start jiu-jitsu, so you're gonna make it friendly fast in the team. So, but if you realize that it was not a good environment later, so you already connect with friends, so
Right.
you get stuck.
Right.
So it's sometimes your heart break feelings to go to another team. But when you check before, so about and today you see it's or just start jiu-jitsu, but make sure that there are no problem to move to other schools.
Yeah.
That's belongs to help you to guide in your path, in your way, because sometimes you have a different guide, you have a different path, you want to do one thing, and sometimes it doesn't match with the school that you are right now.
Right. So I guess the recommendation to summarize that would be, search different schools in the area, try them out for a week, feel the atmosphere. And then because once you pick a school, you're kind of in that lineage for a while.
Yeah, because you make it friendly,
You make friends,
yeah,
you get
and also
belts
and also it's an influence the match, the instructor. You see, as a kid, I was get a lot of influence from my professor. I want to be my professor. I want to be like him. If he was doing crazy stuff, I will do crazy stuff. I was
Right.
teenager looking my coach as an idol. I say,
Yeah.
he use bike. I want to be using the bike. Or he wants to do his swimming. I want to swimming. So if the coach was doing something wrong, I want to do something wrong.
Yeah.
So you copy the people who I always respect my father, but you always wants to copy also the people that it's important to you.
Yeah.
So the professor, jiu-jitsu professor, they have a really a lifestyle they push it through those kids.
Right. You want to make sure whoever that professor is,
Yes.
because they're so influential. I mean, obviously for you, super influential. And so at a young age, you were kind of taught this kind of grit, hard work. You've competed so many times in jiu-jitsu. Towards the end of your career and even compete again, what type of advice would you give to somebody who is looking to compete in something, like whether it's jiu-jitsu or a triathlon, whatever it is, what type of skill sets, aside from the questions that you would ask yourself, right? You reframed them.
Uh,
What other types of things do you do before you get on the mat?
you know, in terms of
Yeah, mindset, physical preparation. What types of things?
yeah, but I think like my physical preparation was like I think, and I believe this so much. I think physical preparation was to give you the right mindset
Right.
because in the end of the day, you don't wanna gas out. You don't wanna get tired. You wanna be the one that the last one to be stand. So if you have a good conditioning training, if you have a good like, it's like I was training so much. I was like my physical education, like my training, like my coach was making me training so much, running. We're not like really lifting weights because in real people, but bars,
Yeah.
like a lot of natural workouts. I was workout every day when I was not on the mat, and then when I step on the mat, I knew it that both were gonna get tired, but I was the one who gonna be always fast. So and then I tell my professors, my athletes, so put so much time in conditional training because this is gonna give a mindset to know it that you're gonna get because you're gonna be struggling during the match, but you're gonna know it that you're gonna be able to get out. You're gonna be able to make he get tired first, and when this happen, so you're gonna be the one that's gonna stay.
Right. Opportunity creates itself.
Yes.
And so obviously conditioning, and then what other types of things? So now that you have a school and you have tons of kids that are coming in here, you've opened up these different schools. What have you learned from like, watching the kids grow up? What type of mindset have you seen a shift in where jiu-jitsu was when you got into it to where it is today, or has it still stayed
Yeah, no.
kind of closer to the roots?
Yeah, no, like I try to keep close to the roots as possible, with a little change. So today I saw the kids today, they're professional like adults. They're a lot of influenced by their parents. Like my father, he never saw me training when I was a kid. So even when he support me to go to jiu-jitsu, I don't remind he sit down and watch me training once
Right.
when I was a kid. Actually, I just remind he sit down and watch me training here in California. I was a couple years ago. So I never, he went to 3 tournaments. He got so nervous. He said, I can't go to the competition. Also, he was super busy. So what made me be a successful in sport was not my father take me every day. So what my father said, you're not going to stop. Because as a kid, I say, I want to go to the beach too. I want to go to this. They say, no, you can go to the beach. You can go everything else. But jiu-jitsu, it's something that you're going to do it. And then I like to do. Because as a kid, if you like to do things, you're going to spend your time. Regarding you'll be a Buchecha, it's the biggest name you have in the sport. If you don't love jiu-jitsu, you're going to stay in the mat 2 hours. But if you love, you're going to stay 6 hours. And that's the time it's going to build something in you that for you be a world champion.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you bring up Buchecha. He's a student of yours, right?
Yeah.
And he's at the top of the sport.
Yes.
And his love for the game is incredible. And so, I think that's a really valuable point, especially we see that also in CrossFit, is that some people get into it and they get into it because maybe they want to be the next Buchecha or they want to be the next, or in CrossFit, the next Matt Frazier, these other guys, but they don't realize you got to have a genuine love for what it is because you're going to spend so much time doing it.
Yes.
And that's a great thing. And so moving forward, you still have this work ethic. I mean, obviously it's a Sunday. We met in here early in your dojo to connect. You're still hustling and bustling and ready to rock. What's the next steps for Leo Vieira? I mean, you teach seminars all over the world. What do you have planned?
My plan right now, it's even when I'm a head coach, I have a lot of people that training a lot of our athletes too. So I work so much in the background to make everybody have the same or the best resource in terms of training, and opportunities to the athletes. So my goal as a team is to provide for all our affiliations resource for they be able to have exactly the same training we have, develop the athletes that we have because we work with a different purpose. We not work just with athletes. We sell jiu-jitsu to everybody else. So we have different programs, but I teach them how to identify the student as a kid and as adult, as a grow up, like he wants to do a sport, when he click or he wants to compete, and motivate the talent and how to polish this diamond.
Right.
So taking to those camps, bringing to different schools and polish this diamond, but they became uh, the new Buchecha.
Right.
So my goal is organize the team to give this support. So best support for the affiliations to with knowledge and emotional knowledge to identify those kids or those young and drive him to the spot. At the same time, give a lifestyle a lifestyle to the people that it's enjoy the community of jiu-jitsu and support each other. That's our, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a guy who's dedicated his life to the sport of jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu in general. You've been able to create a lifestyle for yourself, and it's super cool for me. I mean, I cannot imagine what it would be like to have parents who didn't go to school at all. Like when you said earlier, oh, my parents didn't go to school, I was under the impression like you meant maybe college, right? Because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty remarkable. Your parents have been able to, now come here, and it's remarkable what you've been able to do through jiu-jitsu. And I can't wait to continue to watch you thrive and grow through Checkmat and everything you have going on. If people want to keep up with Leo Vieira, they want to keep up with Checkmat, if they want to find a Checkmat affiliation to maybe go visit, where should they go?
Yeah, we have a website. That's and all social media. So we organize right now. We have one website with checkmatbjj.com.
Checkmatbjj.com.
Yeah, and we organize all the we have a lot of Instagram or different social media, but we focus to organize just only one to have better information. But right now, the main website is this. So, and that's like we grew up so fast and not organized, and then but that's my step. So we have the website. Next week, you're gonna have the store with all uniform, with all the clothings. So we come up with a lot of like team resource to everybody. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I get it. As a business grows, you kind of fly by the seat of your pants, and then
and jiu-jitsu, and for us, the way we grew up was so much like as a family. Started me, my brothers, and couple friends with Jackman. It was only like 5 guys, and then start like everybody the Jackman. It's or black belts or somebody that we fight. It's so was the way we grew up was so much friendly and connective, like phone call or facing meeting. So we really didn't need systems, but became a point that we over like 200 300 schools. We at Asia, Europe, Brazil, South America, United States. So how gonna connect these people? So we have to. So because even when you travel, we need to have people that can run local program and and spread it out our vision. It's not the same. It wants to make everybody feel connective through one link.
Love it. All right, guys. Well, hey, check out Leo Vieira on social. Check out, obviously, the website he was mentioning. And I hope everybody, I really appreciate you sharing a little bit more insight about what jiu-jitsu is, a little bit more insight about what Checkmat is. And, yeah, man, I hope you have a great tournament today, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was really nice.